We went to Cuba at the end of 2022. We've been to the capital city of Havana, the World Heritage towns of Vanellas and Trinidad, Varadero, one of the most beautiful beach in the world, and Playa Goran, the diving paradise of Cuba. US and Cuba have had a strained relationship for more than 60 years. The two countries restored diplomatic relations in 2015. Nowadays, Americans can travel to Cuba under 12 authorized categories. The easiest and broadest category is support for the Cuban people. When buying a ticket online, you can choose this category. Then you will be directed to a Cuban website where you need to fill in your personal information. Once completed, it will give you a barcode that will be scanned upon entry to Cuba. When you get to the airport, you need to buy the Cuba tourist card at airline check-in counter. Prices may vary among airlines. We spent $75 per person. Note that this card must be kept safe. If lost, it will have to be repurchased. Is Cuba safe? Cuba is very safe. It is said to be the safest country among Central America. We met a few solo female travelers on the road. Pickpocketing is inevitable wherever you go, but it is much less than what it is like in other parts of the world. However, traveling to Cuba without a guide can be difficult. There are two reasons. First, Cuba has almost no internet. Second, most Cubans do not speak English. Now, let's talk about food, lodging, transportation, internet, and money exchange in Cuba. Food. In Cuba, there is a shortage of supplies and food is allocated to residents in the food rationing system. Cubans can only receive a limited amount of food supplies each month, but there are plenty restaurants for tourists there. The prices are in line with Western world though. Most of time we ate at the host's home. The meals are nice with many varieties. You certainly want to bring some biscuits just in case. Lodging. Americans are not allowed to stay in any hotel or resort in Cuba because they are owned by Cuban government by at least 51%. Americans can only stay in casa, which you can book on Airbnb. Casas usually range from $10 to $30 a night. This is where we stayed in Vanellas. It is cozy and beautiful. You better book at Airbnb before entering Cuba because Airbnb does not work in Cuba. Transportation. Transfer between Cuban cities is usually done by tourist bus viazel or taxi, shared or private. Bus is cheaper but takes longer time. You better purchase the bus tickets in advance during peak season, or they might sell out. I will put Viazel website link below in the description area. Here is a fare list I took on a taxi. You can contact the company directly or ask your casa host for assistance. Internet. Accessing the internet in Cuba can be very difficult and expensive. Tourists can go to the state-run telecommunications bureau, ITEXA, to buy an internet card, but often have to wait in line for 1 or 2 hours. The internet card costs $1 per hour and passport is required to make the purchase. With the internet card, you can go to places with Wi-Fi spots such as parks or train stations. If you see a group of people at one place looking at their phones, that's probably a good sign for Wi-Fi signal. However, internet in Cuba is very unstable and can be unavailable from time to time. Money exchange. Please make sure to bring enough cash. US bank cards and credit cards cannot be used in Cuba. CUC for foreign tourists in Cuba has been discontinued, and now foreign tourists use Cuban peso as locals. US dollar and euro are also widely accepted in Cuba. Google search shows the rate 1 USD equals 24 pesos, but this only applies to foreign trade with state-owned enterprises of Cuba. Tourists can exchange $1 for 120 pesos at a Cuban bank, but the banks will charge a 10% revenge tax for US dollar exchanges. If you exchange on the street, you can get 160 pesos for $1 now. The latest exchange rate in the private sector can be referred to this website. I will put the link in the description section as well. Lastly, please make sure to download the Offline Translate app and Google Maps so you can use them in case of no internet.